Today, class, we're going to be covering this wonderful, beautiful exercise called the Barbell Good Morning. And the reason we're going to go over this exercise is because my significant other, Jen here, does them better than I've ever seen anyone do them in my life. And I thought it was important to show you what proper form looks like on this drill. So this exercise works your posterior chain, which includes your hamstrings, your glutes, and your lower back muscles as well. And these lower back muscles go actually up your spine, and they're called the erector spinae. And this exercise is really good for improving posture or maintaining good posture. And it's good for any kind of activity that you do where your legs are in motion, where you're pushing forward like this. So running, biking, anything like that. And it's just an all around good exercise. And it also gets a little bit of your abs involved as well. So if I'm not mistaken, it's called a good morning because centuries ago, people in other countries would address each other like this, and they would bow to each other and come up. And that's a way of saying good morning inaudibly. And I think that's where the name of the exercise came from. And if you want to fact check me on that, be my guest and do so. Otherwise, let's get down to business. So, Jen's going to grab her barbell, and she's going to bring it all the way up over her shoulders and place it on the top of her back. And she's standing with her feet about hip width apart. And then what she's going to do is bend forward. And she has a slight curvature in her back, which is totally fine, but predominantly her back is straight and her legs are straight. And then she's going to come up. And that motion at the top is performed by the contraction of her posterior chain. And she's going to come back down. She's taking a big inhale as she comes down. And remember, you always want to inhale when you're coming down with a drill and exhale on the exertion of force. The exertion of force is going right here. And then she squeezes her glutes at the top as well. I'm speaking on her behalf because I'm the one that's mic'd up here. Do one more. And she likes to hold that bottom position for a little while, and she does it in a slow and controlled motion on the way down and on the way up, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Slow and controlled always trumps sloppy form any day of the week. The last thing you want to do, especially when you're doing a drill as articulate as this, is use sloppy form or do the exercise quickly or fast. That's when you put yourself in the threat and you risk hurting your lower back. Now, I know she's dying to show a couple variations that she likes to do, so go ahead and show us one of your variations. She likes to add a press in at the top. And then she brings it down in the front. Oh, and then look at this. And then she comes down. Now she's rounding her shoulders because she'd all of a sudden turned it into a stretch. So she's stretching her hamstrings. And by the way, she's high caliber, high seasoned yogini as well. And she could actually teach classes. She doesn't. She's humble. But she could. So she's got a little extra flexibility than the average person might have. And you may be able to do something like this whole complex that she's doing, and you may not be able to. And if you do something like this, I suggest you go light with the weight, slow and controlled, and try to get a lot and a high amount of tension on your muscles as opposed to doing things with heavy weight. That's a pretty lovely flow right there. So there you go. Good job, babe. So that's called a Barbell Good Morning, and I highly suggest you give it a spin. Start out light with your weights and then slowly increase your weights as you go along. I don't know why I'm flexing, I didn't do anything.